Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayana Namo Namaha Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our exploration of the question of Vasana. What is Vasana? What is desire, impulses, cravings? These are all words that are applicable in the overall discussion regarding the Atma Tattva. We are attempting to discover what is the Atma Tattva. The Atma Tattva is a discovery. It is a self-discovery through many different approaches and means. The beauty of the Atma Tattva is that when we begin to approach the Atma, there is tremendous clarity in the brain and the mind. The benefit of trying to realize the Atma is so much that it is almost indescribable, but I'll try to describe it to some extent. Why should we try to realize the Atma? People have said to me over the years, what, this is some hypothetical nonsense. How can you realize the Atma and how do you know that is there and this and that? I said, hold on a second. If you take the journey to realize who you are through various approaches, which we're going to talk about, and which we have been talking about, the benefit, the immediate benefit, is a 99 to 100% balance between the body and the mind. That is just the immediate benefit. Think about that, which is so difficult to do in the general sense. But if we take a path to actually discover that who am I, what am I, the self, to discover that, and then also to please God, Bhagwan kya hai, ye two things, Atma or Paramatma. When we are taking this journey, we are going to have actually as an intermediate step this phenomenal balance of energy through the body, mind, everything gets balanced very well. And then peace, shanti, peace of mind, which you cannot purchase with it's not something you can purchase. It is a realization. Peace of mind is so important in life. We are so burdened. Humanity is burdened in million ways. If we look at our own mind, it is burdened in God knows how many ways. But we don't have to carry those burdens. So the benefit of taking the journey to realize the Atma and please God, Paramatma, is that the burdens of the Antakarana fall away. And what is it that creates those burdens? That is Vasana. The causal body. That is why it is called Karana Sharira. Karana meaning it is the cause of birth itself. It is the cause of the experience of the material world itself. So when the causal body is destroyed, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today and then in this continued series, but just to say it right now, when the causal body is destroyed, you realize immediately you're the Atma. The divinity that you are. Soham, Shivoham, Ayam Atma Brahma. The realization, this is the glory of the me. It is not the psychological me that is tangled with the ego. It's not that. That is it is the transition from the Aham Jivam Granthi. In Vedaras, Bhagavan Swaminarayan, he mentioned this so beautifully. He said there is a big knot inside of us. But it's not a physical knot. It is the knot that I am this physical body, I am the subtle body, I am these vasanas. That is the main knot. Because of the vasana knot, that I am these desires, which is so ingrained neurologically, psychologically, that we are just living only with that I. That is called Aham Jivam Granthi. Granthi means knot. It can also mean block, but it really means knot, like knot, like a tight knot. Aham means me. I am this jiva. But so we want to move away from that into aham brahmasmi, aksharam aham, purushottama dasosmi, brahmabhutah prasannatma, na shochiti na kankshiti, samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. This is a very beautiful verse in the Gita. The equanimity in all circumstances. Samaha sarveshu bhuteshu. Samatva. Equanimity in all circumstances. Such a devotee, such a bhakta, such an individual, a sadhak is able to do parabhakti, mad bhaktim, brahma bhutah prasannatma, na shochati na kankshati. Brahma bhuta means what? He's living in the vastness of experience. It's a very beautiful thing. It doesn't cost us anything to do this. In fact, the more we get entangled in the material world with more running after these desires, we are moving away from vastness. The word Brahman means vast, without boundary, without any limitation. And the word Akshara means that which never changes, absolute. Akshara, Brahma. So these are two words that come together. Sometimes they're used separately and together. Akshara means that which is beyond Shar, K-S-H-A-R. Shar is everything that is changing all the time. That is within the world of Prakriti. Beyond the world of Prakriti is the changeless, absolute reality. So Akshara is the changeless and the absolute, and the vast, the infinite. So that is called the formless Brahman. उसका भी एक अलग फॉर्म है. भगवान स्वामीनारायण, he has shown some new things in Vedanta which are not there in other scriptures. So there is also form of Akshar. तो वो एक अलग बात है. We'll get to that some other time. Or it is difficult to understand just like that. But right now, what is important for us is to recognize that we need to come out of vasanas. And this is point number 1. और पॉइंट नंबर 2 इसमें क्या है कि भगवान की अचल निश्चल भक्ति शुड नेवर बी डैमेज्ड. किसी की यू कैन डू एनी भक्ति ऑफ एनी स्वरूप ऑफ परमात्मा in any which way, but bhakti should never ever be damaged. The moment bhakti is damaged while we're alive, we will swing back into vasanas. We will swing back into ahankar. So even the greatest of sages, even Ramakrishna Paramahans in his life, even though he would go into samadhi so many times, right? But when he's coming out of samadhi, he's again worshipping the goddess Kali. The bhakti continues. While we're living in this body, as long as the body is here, bhakti must continue. Because if it doesn't continue, then we will wind up back into some ignorance again. So, in the teachings of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, the very important thing that he has emphasized, that dharma, jnana, and vairagya, they are the foundations for bhakti. They are the protectors of bhakti. You see how beautiful? तो इसमें ज्ञान क्या है? Gyan is a state of realization that I am not these vasanas. I may have some desire, and if I have a desire, I can go to God and say, this is my desire, sakam bhakti. Because sometimes we have some strong desire. Okay, there is no prohibition against asking God to fulfill your desire. You can ask. There's 4 types of the devotees, right? Jnani, Artho, Artharthi, and the Jignasu. Jnani, Jignasu, Arthartho, Arthi. So if I have a desire that says I want some experience in life, whatever it is, I want something, you can ask. Shri Krishna is saying no problem, but that is Sakam Bhakti. Now, when you are in the Sakam Bhakti, you come into the vision of God, that because you're connecting with God even through Sakam Bhakti. Sakam means with desire of something in the material world, something for the body. We have it all the time, right? Somebody is sick, we do some prayer. Somebody's this, somebody. We are, most of the time the bhakti is Sakam bhakti anyway. No problem. It's okay. कोई बात नहीं. So, एक ज्ञानी जिसको ज्ञान हो गया है, ज्ञान is what after all? Gyan is a total realization that this entire reality is like a bubble. It comes and goes, comes and bubbles come and go. So वो जो परम ज्ञानी जो है, they don't ask for anything. Even though they may want something to happen, so it's kind of a bridge between Sakam and Nishkam. I can say that, okay, I want these 3 or 4 things to happen for the benefit of the world. Let's say, right? We do prayers all the time for the benefit of the world. So is that Sakam or Nishkam? Well, it is in some sense it is a Sakam bhakti in that, because you're still wanting something. See, so but it's not for you, it's for the benefit of others, let's say. So वो एक higher category है, जो Sakam bhakti की, is a higher category. And that is generally going to be there. There's no issue with any of that. That's very good. And then the Nishkam bhakti is bhakti for the sake of bhakti. Bhakti for the sake of bhakti. As an example, those who are worshippers of Bhagwan Shiv, जो भगवान शंकर की जो उपासना करते, तो जो नमः शिवाय मंत्र है, right? It's a पंचाक्षरी मंत्र. इसका बहुत महिमा है. So when you do the Namah Shivaya mantra, as an example I'm giving here, you can do the mantra with Sakam, to say, I want, to have a child, or I want to have this job, or I want something to happen in this, something to happen for somebody else. No problem. No issue with that. You can write the sankalpa, and I do that actually in the pujas when people come or when they ask for things. I say write 2 sankalpas. Sankalpa means Shuddha Sankalpa, the good things you want to see happen in the world for yourself, for your family, for your businesses or for your occupation, whatever. Write it down. Don't hold back. This is my opinion. If you want to ask everything. Why hold back? But ask, who are you going to ask? Ask Paramatma. Baki theek hai, we get assistance from family, from friends, from relatives. No problem. We all are interconnected, so we are always interconnected with each other. But when it comes time to ask for what we want, ask God without holding anything back. This is my opinion. Ek bhi baat hold back nahi karni. Ask everything, let it out, write it down, and put it at the feet of the Paramatma, and then leave it. Do your sadhana, do what your duty, and the result of the action is in the hand of Paramatma. Jo sadhan karte hai. So let's say, for example, if I say I'm going to do, either by my own wish, or maybe some guru has told me, or somebody has told me, maybe some pujari, guru, pandit, somebody says, okay, Sachin, you do, 1008 times Namah Shivaya mantra, you want this particular thing to happen, aapki ichha hai, to itni sadhana karna. Usually this type of agnya is given by a Siddha guru. जो सिद्ध होते हैं, who have reached that stage of realization, they are in connection with God, so they can tell you how much sadhana to do, what type of sadhana to do. But if you don't have particular Siddha guru, or it's not accessible, or it's not clear, to you if that person is enlightened or not, then one of the best things to do is to do Hanuman Chalisa, और हनुमान जी के चरणों में प्रार्थना करनी कि हमारी ऐसी इच्छा है, आपकी जैसी इच्छा, उनको guru banana. Making Hanuman ji the guru is the best and most straightforward thing, because he will automatically guide you. So when you put the sankalpa, automatically either the right person will come, the right vichar will come, it will come automatically. See, Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar, Jai Kapisatihu Loka Ujagar, Rama Duta Atulita Baladama, Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar. Hanuman ji is the 8th incarnation of Bhagwan Shankar. The Ashta Rudra ka jo, there are 8 Rudras. Actually, there's more than 8. I have to look it up actually. But he's the 8th form of that particular form of Shiva, in the form of a devotee, of course, of Bhagwan Ram. तो शंकर भगवान का ही एक स्वरूप है वो हनुमान जी. So it is possible to ask what you want. Don't hold back. You know the benefit of that? You're not holding it inside yourself anymore. You're not taking the responsibility that, oh, this will happen, this will. Yeah, you're doing your activity to do what you need to do. But the burden is not there on your head anymore. So one of the most important benefits of Sakam Bhakti is that we don't carry the burden anymore. We have the kamna. Jo bhi kamna. Ishta kamna siddharthe. We say that in the mantras, right? Ishta kamna, what you want to see happen. You want something to see happen? Okay, so Bhagwan will give you that experience at some point. So put it all out there. And then the interesting thing is, as the sadhana continues, and bhakti bhav begins to increase. Even in Sakam Bhakti mein kya hota hai? That our devotional space, our internal devotion begins to increase, and whatever sankalpa we may have put out there, at some point, yes, it's there, but that doesn't weigh on our minds at all. You see this in the history of the people who have done these kinds of Sakam Bhakti. Many have done. The Devas have done, the Asuras have done, Manushas, so many have done. When they progress further in their sadhana, they even forget what their original sankalpa was. They don't remember. Because they're so absorbed in devotion, and then God gives them what they want. But by the time they get what they want, they are so engulfed in devotion that sankalpa that they had seems so tiny. It's like a tiny little pebble compared to the ocean of devotion. That's a nice phrase, right? Ocean of devotion. It is the progress further. It is good to start with Sakam Bhakti, because that is where we have to begin. Most people are not going to begin with Param Nishkam Bhakti and all that. It's very difficult. It's not going to happen like that. And that's an evolution further. Nishkam Bhakti kya hai? I'll explain that also here. Nishkam Bhakti, and this connects with the question of Vasana. Koi Vasana hi nahi hai usme. Koi prakar ki nahi. Only one Vasana is there. Bhagvat Prasannata. Nothing else. The only thing to ask from God is God Himself. What do you want from God? I want you. Like if two people are getting married, what do they want from each other? They want each other. You cannot say that the man who's getting married to a woman says, okay, I want you to give me these 20 objects. That's why I'm marrying you. But you stay in a different state. I don't want to see you again for the next 10 years. You just give me what I'm looking for. I'll marry you. That doesn't work like that. Marriage mein kya hota hai? It is a sambandha between the two. Isn't it so? It's an intimacy between the two. In the marriage, what does the couple want? They want each other. Similarly, bhakta or bhagwan ka jo sambandha hai, the bhakta wants God. And the more the bhakta wants God, the more God wants bhakta. Prabhuji tum chandana hum pani. So that state of immersion in bhakti, that is where vasanas naturally shatter. You cannot do anything to those vasanas, first of all. And see, this is where, if you remember this Vachanamrita, we'll go back into this again right now, just for a moment. Where, this is in Gujarati, but I'll translate it. Where this question asked by Muktanand Swami, who is an Ekantik Bhakta? Maharaj here explained that he's very clear. He said, Jene Bhagwan vina biji koi vasana na hoy. That only one vasana is there. There is absolutely only, all desires have synced into one profound desire. That is God. Oh my God. Everything is in there. Sab gyan hai usme, sab vairagya hai usme, everything. All Aishwarya, the Chaturdha Mukti, everything you can imagine, Ananta Brahmand, everything is inside there. But that stage can develop. When that stage develops, everything is tiny compared to that tremendous bhakti. Now these kinds of siddhas, these siddha bhaktas, they are living with God. भगवान के साथ वो रहते हैं. ये कोई सामान्य बात नहीं. It's a very, very profound and my God, अद्भुत बात है ये. भगवान बिना बीजी कोई वासना ना रहे. Meaning, what does it mean? वासना towards God means what after all? उसमें रस आता है. भगवान का नाम का रस आता है, मंत्रों का रस आता है. We do take the name of God. भगवान की जो मूर्ति है, स्वरूप है, वो रसो वही सह नव रस पूर्ण. The rasas, we'll talk about that some other time. What those rasas are. And the devotee, bhakta, begins to experience the nectar of devotion. Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu, वो एक शास्त्र है, बहुत अद्भुत शास्त्र है. Nectar of devotion. हरे कृष्णा में, ISKCON में एक गुरु जी है, लिखा है. उनकी जो the परंपरा they have, he has written that. I don't remember the name actually right now. Maybe it's Bhakti Vinod Thakur or something. Maybe he's the one who has written that. It's called Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu. Sindhu means ocean. Bhakti Ras. So the Bhakti Ras is so, the taste of Bhakti, the flavor of it, the internal rasa that comes from the heart is so powerful, so beautiful, that all other experiences are all intersynced within that. It's like this. When we are enjoying something of the material world, when we're in the height of the enjoyment, it could be anything. So maybe we're at a party, or maybe we're having a walk in the nature, but there are some states of experience where we feel so much intense joy, intense enjoyment, let's say. It happens in classical music. When you listen to classical music, if you get so absorbed in that, even the musician, the musician who's playing and has people sitting in front of them, or they get interconnected. They have an audience that truly appreciates their music, so they get even more energized, and they all kind of become one. And there's a height of enjoyment. And the audience, the listeners, and the musician with the tabla player, with the manjira, with all the supporting, they all sync together and they enter into a zone that they don't want to come out of. That is a glimpse. It is a tiny little glimpse of what is bhakti. But it is a glimpse. So as I mentioned before, the experiences of Prakriti always give us, can give us, not always, they can give us these heightened peaks that give us a little taste of that Brahmananda. But the experience of Prakriti are limited. You can be at a classical concert, how long can you sit there? You might have 10 minutes of just extreme joy. But then you cannot just maintain that, it will come down. That is the difference between the experiences of the Prakriti versus the realization of the Atma. The realization of the Atma is always there. It is not something that ever goes away. So at the height of devotion, there is a relationship between God and you. Bhakt aur Bhagwan ka jo sambandh hota hai. And in that relationship, all vasanas are shattered by bhakti. The bhakti is the only thing that can shatter the vasanas completely, and also bind God. Bhagwan bhi bandhan mein aa jata hai. Bhagwan jo hai wo bhakt ke bandhan mein aa jata hai. That's the only thing that can bind God. Or bhakti is the only state that can destroy from the root the vasa. So somebody will say, what about Gyan? What about Vairagya? What about Dharma? What about other sadhanas? Sure, why not? Those who are pure Gyanis, yes, for them bhakti is a support. They're also beyond vasana. They can be beyond vasana. Sure, why not? Those who have great Vairagya, they're more inclined towards just detachment and, like ekant and just a kind of a silent meditation and this type of thing. For them, Gyan and Bhakti are support, Vairagya is predominant. Is it possible that vasanas can be extinguished that way? Yes, possibly. Yes, why not? It can happen. But, as I mentioned to you before, at least from my perspective and from what I have studied over the years, ये जो वासना का जो problem है, इतना serious problem है, that it is by the anugraha, by the grace of God that is removed. If somebody says, I can just remove this, I can just go beyond it. You cannot go beyond that yourself. You can go to some extent. There is an analogy that is given in Vachanamrut by Sajanand Swami. He's talked about Atmanishta and Swarup Nishta. ये जो बात है बहुत interesting बात है. It's like this, if you're going to swim the English Channel, you can swim the English Channel by great training. Atmanishta is that you can get to some level of the Atma by your own efforts. Gyan, Vairagya, Sadhana, etc. Even Bhakti as a support. Okay. But if you want to cross the ocean, can you swim across the ocean? If I go to Rehoboth Beach, I start swimming east. Can I go to Africa by my own effort? No. I have to go into a boat, I have to go into a ship, or I have to go into a plane or whatever. I cannot swim the ocean. I can swim maybe a channel, maybe at the most the English Channel. Probably not even that. Very few people have ever even done that. But they've done it. Who has swum from one coast to the other? How can you do it? You have to have a boat, you could be drowned. You cannot survive. Similarly, जिसको भवसागर कहते हैं, to go beyond life and death, to realize God, to realize the higher truths, and to go into the Brahman and the Akshara Brahma and all that, to go into the further development, further reality. It's called Upasana Rupi Varn. Ma Besfu pad in Gujarati. You have to sit in the boat of Upasana. So when we sit in the boat of Upasana means what? I am a small, tiny little speck of dust at the feet of God. I don't know anything. I'm not anything. I'm just at your feet. And you are the Lord. And you take me. That bhav. It is like, an ant that gets into a plane. And then that ant goes from New York City to Mumbai. How can an ant go from New York City to Mumbai? It has to go into somebody's little pocket or some purse or something, and it's into some container, whatever. And then it goes from one coast to the other. We're like the ant. It's Jeev Dasha. When we sit at the lap of God, Bhagwan ke charanon mein hum baiste hain, that is called Upasana. So we are relying on God. Bhagwan ka aadhar hai, not sadhan ka aadhar. Sadhana, although we do sadhana is done to please God, Bhagwan ki prasannata. It is not done with the attitude that I can cross the ocean. You cannot cross the ocean. You will not be able to cross the ocean. But when we are taking the shelter of the Lord, as they say in Christianity, when we go to the feet of God, Bhagwan ka jo ashray swarup hai, when we have that feeling that I am nothing, who am I? After all, I don't know anything. Balak ban ke hum jate hain Bhagwan ke paas. What a bhav that is, that is a tremendous bhav. To go as a child who is going to the mother, going to the father. When we go to God, Bhagwan, with that bhav, and we may still have sakam sankalpa, no problem. As a child we go, with love and affection and prem. That bhavana is so powerful, and the bhakti solidifies. The solidification with Paramatma through bhakti it becomes so solid that Bhagwan becomes bound by the bhakti of the devotee. And Bhagwan then does what the devotee wants. इसमें वचनामृत में ऐसा लिखा है और अन्य शास्त्रों में भगवान वो भक्त के भी भक्त बन जाते, ऐसी स्थिति होती है. It's incredible. It's absolutely unbelievable, to understand these things. But it's true. Those who are so elevated in bhakti, God Himself starts to think of that devotee again and again and again. And you start to think about God again and again. Like two people who are in super love with each other. They cannot think of anything except each other. Anywhere they go, they're thinking only of each other. Any flowers they see, they think of their beloved. Any object they see, how my beloved will be. All the time they're thinking of the one that they love. People who are really, truly in love with each other at the human level. They cannot stop thinking of each other. We have these stories of Romeo, Juliet, right? Leila, Majnun, all those lovers, the love stories. They're so intertwined. Actually, bhakti is what after all? Bhakti is nothing but love. Prem. But in Shikshapatri, Swaminarayan Bhagwan, he mentioned this way, ke Sneho Bhaktischa Madhave, Mahatma Jnana Yug Bhurir Sneho Bhaktischa Madhave. It's the definition of bhakti. With mahima, with glory. Who is Paramatma? Ananta Brahman jiske ek rom mein firte. Look at the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita mein jo Virat Swarup dikhaya, Sri Krishna Bhagwan showed the Virat Narayan. My God, Arjun was terrified seeing that. He said, oh, Sri Krishna, don't show this. I don't want to see this thing. Show me your four-arm form, your two-arm form. This is an unbelievable thing, The millions of jivas are coming and going, and universes are coming and going, and all kinds of stuff is going on within that entity called Virat Purush. Isko Vishwarup Darshan Yog kehte hain in the Gita. And he actually saw that. वो जो Vishwarup Darshan, उनको जो दिव्य दृष्टि दी, दिव्यम ददामि ते चक्षुः, and he saw that in unbelievable Virat Purush. और वो जो it is possible, एक समाधि की जब कुछ स्थिति है, भगवान की कृपा से he showed him that thing. And he said, my God, what is this? It's unbelievable. And Arjun then realized that he is just a drop. Even Sri Krishna says, who are you? You are a drop in this. You keep your attention on me. You don't worry. Manmana madbhakta madhyajimam namaskuru. Keep your mind on me and you bow down to me. ऐसी भक्ति की महिमा है. Bhakti is the thing. Bhakti is available for every human being. जिसके पास मनुष्य देह है, वो भक्त बन सकता है. Doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. You don't have any knowledge of anything. एक मंत्र ले लो, राम मंत्र, कृष्ण मंत्र, whatever tradition में जो भी अच्छे मंत्र है, जो भी सात्विक मंत्र है, शुद्ध मंत्र है, take them. And the bhavna inside, when that bhav opens up, when like Maharaj is saying here, Bhagwan vina biji koi vasna na rahe, only one desire remains to realize God. In my own life, I'll just share with you. I'm just sharing just for the purpose of sharing, that's all. There's nothing other than that. There have been times in my life where I have experienced at times this thing. It is absolutely mind-blowing. There is nothing like it. When the vasanas do not exist for anything other than God, there is such a movement upward into spirituality. I cannot even explain it. But the thing about it, वो स्थिति बहुत रहती नहीं. It stays for maybe some days even. In my case, it's happened for a couple of days maybe. And then some break will happen. Some other things we do, and then again you go into akhanda vritti. जिसको अखंड वृत्ति कहते हैं. बाकी जो ऐसे जो महान, this is just a tiny glimpse. It's just a tiny glimpse. वो तो 24 hours वो कनेक्शन में ही रहते हैं, जो बड़े गुणातीत संत कहते हैं जिसको गुणातीत स्थिति, गुणातीतः स उच्यते, गुणों से बाहर निकल गए. We have some glimpse little bit here and there, over the years. I'm 51 years, this body is 51 years old now. Over the last 30 years, there have been many times that this has happened. And that force awakens, because once it happens even one time, it will happen again. See, that is called sadvasana. Even just like the asadvasana comes back again and again, the sadvasana also comes back again and again. So whatever progress you make on the spiritual path stays with you. Even Sri Krishna says it will stays with you lifetime after lifetime, and it'll stay with you lifetime until lifetime, until you win over the mind. Winning over the mind, then you are connected with Paramatma completely, meaning the mind has been dissolved into God. But before that winning over the mind occurs, one remains as a Yoga Bhrashta. Yoga Bhrashta kya? What is Yoga Bhrashta? जो भगवान के साथ, they're trying to connect with the Brahman, Parabrahma, trying to connect, but there's deep desire for God, mumukshutva, but some other desires are there too. So because the other vasanas are there, in the next lifetime, he's called a Yog Bhrashta Atma. वो भ्रष्ट हो गया है योग में से. The connection has not occurred 100%. But that connection was there to some extent. Maybe 80%, 90%, 70%, we don't know, whatever. So the journey continues from that point. So the person will keep coming back into the sansar until the mind has been completely infused with divinity 100%. तो उसमें फिर और कुछ वासना, कुछ अज्ञान, कुछ रहता ही नहीं उसमें. That's why in the Gita, Sri Krishna is saying, bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Vasudeva sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva, everything is God. Everyone is Ishavasyam idam sarvam. ऐसी स्थिति होती. Yomam pashyati sarvatra. In this Muktanand Swami, the same Muktanand Swami that we're talking about right now, in the Vachanamrut here, number 11, he has written this pad, Jya juve tya ram jibi juna bhase re anubhavi ananda ma brahma rasana bhogi re jivana mukta jogiya antar arogi re. These are beautiful padas. Sometime we'll have to go through them also. These are in Gujarati. Very awesome literature is there. All of India has all this kind of spiritual literature. Itna sundar hai. See, anubhavi ananda ma brahma rasana bhogi re. जिसको अनुभव हो गया है, अनुभव का जो भक्ति का जो अनुभव है, भगवान का स्वरूप का जो अनुभव है, उसमें जो दिव्य आनंद है, डिवाइन जॉय, और उसमें भोग किस प्रकार का है? ब्रह्मरस. अभी ये क्या है ब्रह्मरस? व्हाट इज दैट ब्रह्मरस? और उसका जो भोग क्या है? That we will continue with tomorrow. Okay, all right. So let's stop here.